Hey there, folks. So the day has come. Our pod is getting delivered. My fiance and I are moving into a new home. Before we do, I wanted to give my audience the opportunity to view my current garage setup. It is a little bit in shambles as opposed to what it would normally look like. That being said, I think you'll be able to get the gist of what I've been working in so that when we get into the new place, you can appreciate the new one as much as I will, right? Because we'll be able to compare and contrast the two. So I'm gonna step to the front of the garage and let's take a look. So this is standing outside looking into the garage. The first thing you'll notice is this Kawasaki mule. Now, in the winter, even in this one-car garage, I was able to take this out of here, but we replace it with a full-size vehicle. Now, you've seen this in a number of videos. I bought this 3 years ago when I bought the house because getting to and from the water by foot, kind of a pain. So this machine has done really well for me. It does need a new battery. It is a little hard starting right now, but it has less than 100 hours on it, and I've used it for all sorts of stuff. Pulling logs out of the water, transporting people, transporting cargo to and from the water or somebody else's house. It has a rear lock differential. It's got four-wheel drive. It's got a high-low, reverse neutral, some lights. The thing is great. Doesn't burn a whole lot of gas. The tires are holding up pretty well. This fall, I'll probably do a video in which I change the oil and just put it through its like regular maintenance schedule. But this certainly takes up a lot of space in this one-car garage, and which is why, you know, I can't have like my table saw, which you see over there. I just have like a contractor saw that folds up and folds down. I just don't have the space to leave that thing set up at all times. But I wouldn't really trade this mule for anything. One interesting project on the mule, these caps are all 3D printed. So what had happened is I lost the cap from the factory that goes in here. And then I was like, you know what? This is red and blue, go Bills. I can just design a new cap and stick it in there. I don't know if it gives you the same protection as the factory, but I think it looks pretty cool and seems to be working. The other piece of heavy machinery that I keep in the garage is normally in this corner, but right now it's over here, which is the Craftsman zero-turn lawnmower. And of course, I've done a handful of videos on this, both short and long. That thing, also a beast. And it makes a lot of sense why I needed something like this, because that is a lot of grass to cut. Now, the new house has less grass to cut. I said to myself, you know, should I sell this? Should I keep it? And the truth is, I don't really see a good reason to get rid of it. Even for the smaller lawn, it'll still work really, really well. Unfortunately, I did have to cut the grass this morning very wet because I had to prepare for our pod delivery. So not one of my favorite things to do, but sometimes it's just what you have to do. And this thing backs in quite nicely right there. Other stuff in the garage that I find interesting. So I built this shelving. I'll try and find a photo for you all looking at the before. Basically, the previous homeowner had nailed these 2x4s into the studs. When I started to try to build this shelving, I tried to get these out of here, like actually get the nails out. There was like 6 nails per piece, and I ended up just using a Sawzall and chopping them off. But I think this came out really, really well. In lumber, it's just all 2x4s, and then on the top, I've got a 1/2-inch piece of sanded ply. It's less full than it would normally be because I've already started to take stuff off and transfer it to different places as a means of storage before the big move. And then additional shelving, because in this garage, I just had to keep going higher. I put this up last winter. I think I have a video on this that I'll link to if you're interested, but pretty simple stuff. I mean, those are just brackets. I want to say they hold up to like 2,000 pounds, and then I think that's a 3/4 inch piece of OSB. And I actually got that OSB from another project, which was the ramp, the wheelchair ramp that I built for my grandmother. I also have a video about that if you're interested. So basically, the name of the game in this garage, storage. Because we've got all those shelves there, got all these shelves here. And then, if we work our way back a little bit, we'll excuse the light, that's just for YouTube purposes. This is the sort of work center. Now these cabinets, I actually found these on the side of the road. I paid, I wanna say $50 for all those cabinets. My grandfather and I put them up. Right now they're still full, but they're actually one of the things I'm gonna be emptying first this morning. Here we've got a lot of consumables. This is mostly junk. Here I have some of my Ryobi tools. This broke very, very recently, and I don't plan to fix it, but you know, I have just about every Ryobi tool you could need. These cabinets recently got somewhat clean. So up there, I've got oils for my lawnmower and the mule. I've got some books about woodworking and other assorted stuff. And then lastly, up here is just all fasteners. So nails, screws, whatever you can think of, I probably have it up there. So moving a little lower, this piece of pegboard was here when I bought the house. I decided not to change it. I don't really make use of pegboard as much as I once did now that I have this tool bench, which we'll get to. But the white piece we did add. So this wall didn't have anything on it. Now it has pegboard. This charging rack, something I'm very proud of and happy with. I recently got into Milwaukee tools, so now I'm starting an M18, M12 collection. Prior to that, I was solely Ryobi. I have the 40 volt because I have their chainsaw. And then I've got 3 18 volt chargers, 3 other batteries there, and I have a lot more chargers that I don't get out because I don't really need to. But I like having everything on the shelf there. Workbench is a flat surface, and you know what that means. It collects a lot of Makeover. So certainly I would be lying if I said it didn't always look like this. Although I will say I think it's a little bit worse because I'm moving. And then underneath, we've got our Ryobi wet dry vac. That's an ultrasonic cleaner. I've got my bucket toolbox. Somebody in a recent video said, you know, for the price of that Vito Pro Pack, you could have bought 10 buckets. I already have the bucket. I still like the Vito Pro Pack and I would buy it again, but thank you for your comment. An old vise that I would like to try to restore at some point. I have another vise on the table that I'm also trying to restore. But this workbench, my grandfather and I built, so it's something that I'm very, very proud of, and I plan to keep it for a pretty long time. But I knew I needed more tool storage, which brings us to this Husky. So this is a 72-inch Husky, I want to say. I think it's got 22 drawers. What I really like about it is that the top goes up and down, right? So if you crank this, it goes up. If you crank it that way, it goes down. And what's nice about that is, you know, as a taller person, I can bring the bench up to my height if I'm working on something. I probably will go and do like a full walkthrough of this at some point. This top drawer is probably the most interesting insofar as it's got our socket collection, which I'm still working on. And someday I would like to have all these filled out, but certainly I don't think I'm ever gonna use, you know, a 25 deep, but it would be cool to have it. So whenever I get to a garage sale or an estate sale, if I find sockets sitting around, I try to pick them up, assuming I can add them to a rail here, and someday I expect to have these all filled out. But every single drawer except for 2 on this Husky workbench is filled up. One thing I will say is that getting this was a real pain. I bought it from Home Depot on like 3 separate occasions, and the orders either got canceled or one of them got lost in transit, and it was really hard to get this thing here. But now that it's here, I love it. It does have a lock and key, which I've never actually used, but in the move, right, this whole box is just going with us like it is. I'm gonna lock it and we'll see what happens. Down below there, you can see that additional workbench storage, so I built that on a separate video. And that's basically the garage. Over here, I've got some, you know, hand tools type stuff. I bought these on Amazon. So these are really nice. They've held up for me super well. I installed those basically the first day of the first week that I had the home, and we're able to hang all sorts of stuff. Obviously what's bad about it is that if you want to get to the tool in the back, it's a little bit more difficult, but what's good about it is that you don't need, you know, to take up an entire wall just storing hand tools, because they stack one behind the other. So I really like that. And I would recommend those if you're looking for some additional garage storage or organization. So over here, we've got our ring toss game with the bills. We've got our bills bottle opener and then bucket to catch the caps. And of course, always thinking safety. Got a fire extinguisher there from Home Depot. Over here in this section is a couple other projects that I have built. So in that corner, you'll see our air compressor mounted to the wall. I built that in a short video, which you can find on the channel. This fishing pole holder was another one of those projects we built very early on. That was all just scrap PVC, and then that's just a scrap 2x4. I actually think it's worked out pretty well for us, even though I don't do as much fishing as I probably once did. And then this, I don't even know what you would call it, so sort of cabinetry. Generally we'll have like tailgate chairs. You can usually fit 3 or 4 standing up over there, and then you've got your tackle boxes right next to it. You know, most of the projects in this garage have been about trying to uncover more storage space, right? So what I'm really excited about in the new garage, it's 3 cars, it's heated, it's air conditioned, it's finished. You can see obviously this one is not finished. So I think it's gonna be really, really cool once we get in there. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but for today, I'm gonna pack up the consumables, the fasteners. I picked up some more of those big 27-gallon Rubbermaid bins at Home Depot. So we'll load those up, put this into storage. Probably won't be doing too many projects between now and then because I don't have a shop, but looking forward to it. I can't wait to take you all around the new shop at the new house. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you on the next one.